Hey guys, it's Emmanuel manning another video. Hope you guys are doing well. So I want to give a quick overview of the making of the Hobgoblin, look at some of the creative team and their vision for the character. So I'm going to be pulling the information from the making of Hobgoblin, a very short article written by Steven Regenberg. Right, this article appears in Marvel Age number 5, which is a promotional comic book published by Marvel. So Roger Stern, writer, right? He's the co-creator of the Hobgoblin, very famous writer who had a long run on Amazing Spider-Man. John Romita Jr., a very famous artist, right? Again, well known for his work on Amazing Spider-Man, although he did do a lot of other work on Daredevil, Punisher, and Uncanny X-Men. And Tom DeFalco, who was the editor-in-chief at the time, right? He oversaw the creation of the Hobgoblin, right? He had input in terms of the plot, the story behind the Hobgoblin, and some of the physical look of the character. So just a general overview of the Hobgoblin. So he first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 238, 1983, right? You guys can see the cover on the right-hand side. He remains one of the most popular Spider-Man villains, right? According to comic book website polls. He was especially popular during the 1980s when his secret identity was a mystery. Several characters have donned the Hobgoblin mantle ever since he was created. So why not revive the Green Goblin? Isn't the Hobgoblin just a Green Goblin ripoff? So Roger Stern kind of discusses this a little bit in the article. So he was against bringing back Norman Osborn, right? He wanted to create a new villain, right? He wanted to maintain that kind of Goblin legacy, a kind of a Goblin character, but he wanted to make sure he differentiated the Hobgoblin from the Green Goblin, right? So he mentions he wanted him to be dangerously sane and analytical, right? Norman Osborn was erratic, right? He was insane. So Roger Stern wanted to kind of differentiate the Hobgoblin in that way. He also wanted to be a master planner. Okay, so Roger Stern didn't want him to be, again, erratic like the Green Goblin, right? He also had a bit of an ego. Okay, so we're going to see early on in Amazing Spider-Man, right? When the Hobgoblin is defeated, right? His ego is badly bruised, right? It's one of the reasons he wants to get revenge on Spider-Man. Also, he wanted the Hobgoblin to be more, not just analytical, but kind of a researcher and learn from Norman Osborn, right? Read all of Norman Osborn's journals, right? Look at his equipment, refine it, and maybe learn from Norman Osborn's mistakes when battling Spider-Man. Designing the Hobgoblin. So Roger Stern and DeFalco had some specific elements that they wanted, right? That they informed John Romita Jr., the artist, right? They wanted the Hobgoblin to be more maniacal looking than the Green Goblin, okay? They wanted to maintain the medieval look of the Green Goblin, right? So the tunic, this chainmail effect, which the Green Goblin also has. And they want to make sure they have this padding, right? Roger Stern mentions that Spider-Man is a very worthy adversary, right? So you're going to need all the padding you can get in facing him, right? So that's one of the reasons he wanted to maintain that padding and tunic look. John Romita, he added the overhanging cowl for the Hobgoblin, right? To make him even more menacing. And then he also redesigned his mask, right? And his face, right? He wanted him to have this bulging eyes and eyebrows just to make him even more menacing looking. And the Yamchas, right? So the colorist, right? So he wanted to maintain a very spooky, mysterious look for the Hobgoblin, okay? He wanted to also make sure that it doesn't copy Spider-Man's color schemes, right? That's also one of the specifications of the creative team. He tried many kind of color combinations, but he kind of settled on the orange and dark blue gray, right? Which he said kind of gave him kind of that Halloween look. And here are some kind of the early designs, right? The colors, in terms of the colors, the Yamchas was kind of playing around with, right? Before they settled, on that orange and blue. So just some final thoughts, right? So I think the creative team succeeded in giving the Hobgoblin an iconic look, right? One of the things that I've noticed, when the Hobgoblin's on a kind of a cover, comic book cover, he pops out a lot, right? Even though I noticed non-Hobgoblin collectors, right? I've noticed like, oh, wow, that looks pretty cool, that character on the cover. I think some of the personality traits were realized by Roger Stern. So especially during his run of Amazing Spider-Man, we can see, again, the Hobgoblin kind of has an ego when he's defeated by Spider-Man. He takes a while to kind of plan and get stronger, right? And power up before he faces Spider-Man again. And his planning too, right? He has very big schemes, especially his scheme to blackmail Harry Osborn, and many others, right, as part of his plan to rule the underworld. And he was very analytical too. You can see early on he's studying Norman Osborn's journals very carefully, right, before he makes his move. Okay. You know, although DeFalco maintained the spirit of the character after Stern's departure, right? Stern left Amazing Spider-Man and the character for a long, long time. The Hobgoblin does read uneven at times, right? I'm not gonna go into some of the editorial interference that went into the character, kind of ruined his legacy to a certain extent, right? I think others have covered it, right? Especially comic tropes. So, you know, I'll leave a link to his video. I think he does a great job of kind of talking about some of the editorial interference. Okay, all right. So I appreciate everybody for watching. You know, all that good stuff. Please leave a like, comment, question, share the video. Yeah, let's have a conversation down below. So again, I appreciate everybody for watching. Take care.